Wish you a great new year, and I believe the next year brings in a lot of prosperity and health to each one of you individually. At the same time, it does a lot for our industry, whether it is real estate industry and construction industry. I do hope that the new year will bring in the positive effects of reforms which have been taken up in the last 2 3 years, and make sure that the industry grows onto the growth path again, and strive to touch the double digit GDP growth figures from this year onwards. At RICS, despite the doom and gloom in the industry, we have had a very encouraging year in terms of our engagements with the various government bodies, regulators, in trying to ensure that they understand the global principles of regulations and processes, and adopting global standards in their work principles, so that the industry over here and the country at large can become professional in nature. The details of the annual update are given in the newsletter also, and I would request each one of you to kindly go through what has been achieved in the last 1 year and what is that we expect to continue doing, following from what has been done in the last year. The past 2 months, that's namely December 2019 and January, has been very exciting for RICS anyways. While we have signed up an MOU with National Association of Realtors, NAR India, to try and help professionalize their transaction professions and bring much needed change to the real estate transaction regime. I do believe, and I know for sure that NAR also believes, that this will go a long way in trying to create the much needed transparency at the transaction levels itself, so that the industry can be professionalized and be made more transparent. This will help ensuring that the RERAs do achieve the objectives of creating a well-regulated atmosphere for the real estate industry, which will go a long way in helping the allottees, the consumers, and the industry at large. We have had our real estate housing leadership forum at Mumbai, which was attended by some very significant leadership of real estate industry, who gave us a lot of their voices on what is supposed to be done in the affordable housing sector and in the residential sector. Plus, we conducted an HR leadership forum with select HR leaders, and a real estate investment and finance leadership forum at Mumbai very recently in January, along with our Chief Markets Officer, Mr. Matt Harrison, who was there to help us get the global perspective on each one of them. The thoughts collected from the think tanks in both these forums will go a long way in redefining how RICS contributes to the industry and engages with the industry. At the same time, some of these thoughts from these think tanks are being picked up in our budget expectations, which have been shared at the requisite portals on government and within various government corridors. While the expectation from the budgets is actually listed in the newsletter, I would also request you, if you can go through it and understand what this industry actually needs to reform itself in becoming a force and be the one of the largest contributor to the GDP growth of the country. We have great expectations from this Union Budget 2020, especially with respect to stoking consumer consumption patterns, ensuring that the trust and the faith builds up on the demand side, so that the real estate industry gets benefited. While we saw a huge upsurge in the commercial absorption numbers last year, we do want to make sure that the success of the commercials is getting reflected onto the residential side. I am pretty excited given the national infrastructure pipelines, and having been through the details of the national infrastructure pipeline, we are very confident that the nation is trying to consider all the risk management mechanisms from futuristic perspective, and making sure that in order for India to become a $5 trillion economy, the effective investment which has to go into infrastructure are being put into the right place. For example, the focus on disaster resilience is something which is very much needed, because we do suffer through huge losses through climate related events. It is very important that we work towards that in minimizing the impact of these climate related events, and that will go a long way in making sure that this country has a sustainable growth pattern. At this moment, while we are talking about this, In January and February, we do expect to conduct more occupier-related corporate real estate and FM forums in Pune and Hyderabad, just to make sure that RICS outreach to the tier 2 cities is also felt, and our members do feel that there is an engagement for them to contribute to. At the same time, making sure that these newer growth centers of the country are benefited from the professional movement and the regulatory and reforms movement which is happening in the larger part of the countries. I do look forward to your support to make sure that the agenda which we have taken up in creating a transparent, professional and ethical real estate and construction industry, which comprises the entire built environment sector, is going a long way in creating a huge sustainable momentum for the country's growth as well. Look forward to your support. Thank you.